So a huge congrats to almost every single person who has now officially received and had their stimulus/social security payments delivered this particular week. So a huge congrats to that. The big idea is that it was estimated that from the 60-something million people on social security, about 1/3 was expected to have it delivered this particular week, which means that about several million, but specifically about give or take, 20 million or so, people were confirmed that they were going to receive their social security payments this particular week, with the maximum amount, if in the best case scenario, being about $4,000 give or take. But for most people, the maximum amount is going to be about $2,134 or something around that amount if you were someone that qualified, for most people, for the entire social security payments. Obviously for some people less, but for most people probably less, but that's the maximum amount. So in today's video, what I really want to talk about is what's been going on in the world of social security. If you're someone that's still waiting for social security payments, I want to talk a little bit about what you can do to maybe speed up the process or get more information. And then I just want to talk about maybe some changes that might be happening or that have already started to happen very, very soon. Because there's some that have already started to happen, and then there's some that they're hoping to happen but have not actually implemented yet. But it's very good to know because we can prepare for it. So with that being said, let's just get this video right started. But as always, real fast, before we begin, if you guys enjoy videos like this, as always, the same drill. Remember to smash the like button, or you can watch to the end to decide. Consider subscribing, hitting the bell. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, maybe personal thoughts, or maybe whether or not you've received your payments as well. So with that being said, let's get this video rolling and started. So we're going to start by talking about some of the changes that recently did happen with Social Security. For example, right here, this article highlights some of them, but the big idea what's going on is that they recently did, as most of you guys know, the biggest change is really related to the COLA inflation, where they pretty much adjusted payments by about 8.7% for most people in order to keep up with inflation. There is one other change related to that we're going to mention in a little bit that's important, that has not yet happened, but that they want to do. But the big idea is that they've also helped to lower the cost of healthcare. They've adjusted the tax and income cap adjustments. So basically the idea is that they want to open up Social Security to more people, but they also want to increase taxes for the rich in order to give more money, or to get more money so that they can physically fund more Social Security and really just social programs in general. Now, in terms of some other plans that maybe, or just things that they're hoping to change that they have not actually changed yet, the first is that, and these are changes that have not actually happened, but they're trying to talk about happening, is really about the formula. And this is really the part that's interesting, is that because many people, and it's not just something that they feel, but it's something that statistically the math is there, it's that the actual true rate of inflation has not actually kept up, or that the adjustments that they've made have not kept up with the actual rate of inflation. So in other words, maybe the inflation situation that we're talking about, they adjusted the payments by about 8.7%, but the actual rate of inflation for the cost of goods have actually gone up a lot higher than that. So the big idea is that one of the biggest plans that they're really talking about right now is trying to change up the formula for how they calculate inflation, and that's something that's being spoken on inside of Congress right now. The other big thing is that they're also trying to talk a little bit about trying to find ways to reform the actual program of Social Security. So going back is that they want to open it up to even more people so that more people can physically get onto this program, but they also want to find even more creative ways that they can try to generate money in order to physically fund it, especially because of the high cost of Social Security and the fact that, as most of you guys probably already know by now, is that it is in danger of insolvency in several years if they don't have enough money in order to continue running. And I think that's the biggest, most important thing to really take away from this. I do know is that the $200 Social Security boost is still very, very much on the table. So that's something that might be potentially picked up very, very soon once again. And so the big idea really is that they're going to be having several meetings where they're going to be getting together over the next coming weeks. And they're going to really just be talking about their plans of what else they want for Social Security going forward. Another big thing that's happening is that because we're already seeing several changes that have already started to happen, they also want to take a couple weeks to sort of see how how those changes play out with Social Security and really with our economy in general. So for example, like, how does it impact our economy? Does it really provide more money, or how are people feeling about different things? How's the budget looking? They want to pretty much take that time to kind of see, in theory, they had a theoretical side about what they thought it was going to do. They want to see the practical side now about how these changes is actually going to physically change up Social Security and everything in that world. Now, I do know is that you might have seen there were several videos that talked about like a letter that some people received about Social Security. And the big idea is that all that letter really is just information about your new Social Security payments. The only thing you really have to know about that is just that it's important to keep that letter because it has all of the information. So if something ended up happening, which is what we're going to talk about next, it means that you have the information to kind of contact or to reach out to Social Security, which we're going to explain a little bit of how that works in the future, in order to confirm how much money you're supposed to receive and everything in that particular world. Now, moving on to maybe about what happens if you're still waiting for your payments from Social Security and all that stuff, is that the big idea is that all of the delivery dates are actually based off of your birth date. If you are someone that has a birthday between the 1st to the 10th of any particular month, you will be receiving your Social Security payments last week, and this is going to be every single month, so it's going to be the second week of the month. If you are someone that has a birthday between the 11th to the 20th of any particular month, you're going to be receiving it this particular week, or as the cycle repeats itself, so about the third week of every single month. If you are someone that has a birthday between the 21st and the 31st of any particular month, then you are going to be receiving your payment next week. So they've broken it down to about thirds, so 1/3 of the people there, 1/3 of the people there, 1/3. There is a percentage of people that are going to be receiving it the first week. Those are for people in like particular circumstances. So, we already talked a little bit about that, so we won't go into as much details about that. But the big thing to really take away from this is that if by any chance you are still waiting for your Social Security payments and you are supposed to receive your Social Security, again, because there are about 1/3 of the people receiving it next week, if you are supposed to receive it, then the big idea I would really say is just to give one more week, because it's very possible that maybe it was delayed or something popped up. But if you need to contact Social Security for any reasons at all, which is another really great idea that you can do in order to get more information, I do know is that I took down Social Security's number, which I'll just read out right here. It's 1-800-772-1213. So 1-800-772-1213. You can pretty much call them and then ask them about information about what's been going on, or when you're going to receive your payments, or anything in that world if you have any particular questions. But of course, a lot of this stuff, we just have to see what ends up happening. But at least there have already been several millions of people that have now confirmed receiving it. So a huge congrats over there. But beyond this is that really the other last thing to really share is that there is a lot of talks right now inside of Congress where you guys might have known about how they might be cutting Social Security earlier than anticipated. It's not anticipated to happen, but it is something that some politicians, but especially in the Republican Party, again, objectively speaking, just leaving politics aside, but objectively speaking, because it's what's happening, there are several Republicans inside that are trying to think about finding ways to cut or reduce Social Security in order to use that money for other kinds of purposes and other kinds of goals. That's something that we still have to wait for more news to announce and see, but of course, I think it's just important to kind of understand what's happening right now, regardless of, well, hopefully good news, but just in general news, because again, good news for some people is sometimes not so good news for other people. But that being said, that's pretty much what I really just wanted to cover in today's video. So if you guys found that relatively insightful, maybe consider smashing the like button, consider subscribing, hitting the bell. Feel free to leave a comment about any questions, thoughts, or whether or not you've received your payment. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, stay safe, stay well. I know Lunar New Year is coming up soon, so happy Lunar New Year if you guys celebrate that, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.